Your Steve Jones Show podcast is loading now. The Steve Jones Show podcast is sponsored by Purdy Insurance. Visit Purdy Insurance on Market Street in Sunbury or visit online at purdyinsurance.com. Sports talk where your voice counts. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Now from the Sunbury Motors Studio, here's Steve Jones.
And Ashley, great job as always. Great to have you on the team. Today's show brought to you by Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. The Purdys have served this valley for decades, with the ability to find the right insurance, auto, home, life, business, whatever your needs may be, bundles, but also find the best price so that you're completely covered and your budget doesn't take a beating from it. And if anything ever happens, customer service means everything to them. Great people that are great professionals. That is Purdy Insurance. Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. Talk about great people or great professionals. Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf. Our play-by-play call of the day. Tom Brady not having his best day, so Josh McDaniels goes to the bag of Trevix.
Edelman motions into the backfield and then motions out to the right. Brady throws it to him. It's a lateral. Edelman's looking to throw. Under pressure. To the end zone for Dorsett. A strike for a Patriots touchdown.
Oh, razzle-dazzle, baby.
Scott Zolak at the end. Bob Sochi with the call on the Patriots radio network as the Patriots beat the Eagles 17-10 yesterday at the Link. Penn State coming off its win over Indiana. Now getting ready for Ohio State. Noon kickoff. 10:30 the airtime. By the way, Rutgers will be a 3:30 kick with a 2 o'clock airtime. And for somebody who's broadcasting a basketball game Friday night in Brooklyn, I was happy to see the 3:30 kick. Yeah, here we go. That's good. I love it. All right, so let's bring in Frank Bodani, York Daily Record. Hello, Frank. Welcome back.
Doing great, Steve. Had a good day up there on Saturday, right? Not too cold.
Exactly.
Inside, in the press box.
I know. Jack Ham and I looked at each other. We were walking back from the Jordans. They're like, this was brutal. We're soft,
well,
Frank.
You know
We're
what?
soft.
I hear the extended forecast could be some snow showers Saturday morning in Columbus.
Well, we're indoors on the road. So, and I saw the extended forecast. Okay, that'll be interesting. Let's start with this. The 18-play, 75-yard drive. I've looked at the end of Iowa, a couple first downs when they needed it. Looked at the end of Michigan, first down when they needed. Now this. What are we seeing now in this stretch for Penn State offensively when they need to put together something?
Well, one of my big questions was, this is the season that, to me, the offensive line really did have to show market improvement, or truly. And to me, that's just another exclamation point that they've done that. And it's so important because, you know, you have other examples you mentioned earlier in the season. This was the biggest example that they have come together as a group, and those guys are playing, I think, up to, you know, media fan potential. Like, hey, they were good recruits. They're producing. And I think this changes my perspective a little bit about this game coming up on Saturday. Almost, injuries or not, I have more confidence right now, I think, in Penn State's offense, mostly because of what you just said.
All right, so the fake punt. Preparation is so important in all of this. What should that tell everybody? You know, it's not going to be perfect. But what does it tell everybody that they were ready for it?
It tells me just don't outthink yourself, and if you want to try to get the 4th and 1, go for it.
Right.
Just run a play. Run your best play. I don't understand all of the timeouts, the fake punt, the calling off, the fake punt. It's way too complicated to me. I don't get it.
Right.
Yeah, it seems like a wrong place to do it, right?
Sure.
Isn't the idea of a fake to be so that you can actually fool somebody?
Right.
Anyway. Big play, though. Penn State took advantage of, Indiana's miscues, which you got to be able to do.
Yeah, they did. All right. Now let's get to the next part of this. Early on, Indiana did what Indiana's done all year. They scored a lot of points in the first quarter, but they hit big plays. Then Penn State took that away for 2.5 quarters, but then Indiana hit a couple big plays, or hit a big play in the fourth quarter. What are you seeing there, Frank?
Well, I mean, Penn State's defense is adjusting the last 2 weeks. To me, they just have taken too long to adjust to something you knew, in a sense. Well, I guess Minnesota did throw some different stuff at them, but you knew they can throw the ball down the field,
right? And
got arguably the best receiving core in the country, or not the country, the Big Ten. You knew Indiana was going to be able to throw the ball. So Penn State, I guess, give them credit for making adjustments. I think, hey, we don't go to practice, we're not in the meetings, but I think a lot of fans and media would be, wow, what's kind of happened to Penn State's defense, because really expected them to be able to get more pressure on the quarterback, especially the defensive ends. And I know they're playing young guys in the secondary, but there's some issues with tackling and such back there. So then when you play a team like Ohio State, it just makes you worry, I guess, if you're a fan. I mean, how do you combat that at this point?
Okay, so going into this game, when you've had a chance to watch Ohio State, genius to State, they're really, really good. But let's start with Justin Fields. His accuracy is something people wondered about. I don't think anybody wonders about it anymore, Frank.
No, and I don't think people knew at all what type of quarterback he could be till he started getting going this year, because recruiting stars or not, whatever team you're playing for or not, you got to prove it for a few weeks in a row as a starter, and man, he's done that and way more. And the interesting connections, he could have been Penn State starting quarterback at one point.
Sure.
Ends up at their biggest rival. It's crazy how this has all come about. I look at their numbers. I don't know what to think, because if you look at their numbers 10 games in, you think, are they the greatest college football team ever? I mean, when's the last football team? No one's been within 25 points of them in a game.
No.
I don't know. Does Alabama even have that in their past like that? Are they that good? I mean, they have been, I guess, but at some point, something's got to go. Somebody's got to figure something out to at least get them in a 4-quarter game. You would hope, right? I mean, I don't know if this is the week, but they've been so good, I don't even know what to think. I mean, and then their defense is ranked number 1 in the country in like 3 or 4 categories.
Right, several categories. Chase Young getting back. I mean, I really don't care how it came about. The bottom line is he's back. So being back, let's talk about the potential impact he has on any game he's in.
Well, he looks like the most ferocious defensive player in the country. So it's not even the stats when I say that. It's the way he plays the game. There's intimidation and fear in the way he plays. That means something at a whole different level, right? You got so the Penn State's tackles. Rasheed Walker's done a tremendous job.
Yes,
great that we haven't really had to bring his name up. That's a great sign. But and he passed the test at Iowa. I don't know, dealing with this guy who's been sitting and waiting for this now for 2 weeks.
Right.
It's going to be a tough assignment. I think, wasn't Chase the guy who made the tackle on the 4th and 5?
He did. Yep.
And made a great play, I think.
Yeah, got to the inside, made the play.
Yep. Right. So, they just got superstars everywhere. Penn State's offense needs to try to keep pace. And I know that might sound silly to some with some of the struggles, but I think I can almost see maybe somehow Sean Clifford, who can keep getting better each week. If you can get somebody like Justin Shorter finally and really involved, get some big plays. Try to give your defense a chance to hang in there and adjust like they have the last 2 weeks, I guess. They got to score points because Ohio State's going to.
What role can special teams play in this game?
Huge. 2 years ago, Saquon took the opening kickback. I think that set a tone. Penn State has not had a kick. Surprisingly, I think to some, not had an unflagged return for a touchdown this year.
Yeah.
I think with their talent, Penn State's talent, and with the move to Joe Lorig, who kind of that was part of his resume, I think you expected it by now. So you got to have something. This is a game that doesn't look even in a lot of ways, so you got to make up for it. And special teams would be a breakthrough. Hopefully KJ can play, I would think, at 100%, and if he is, he's got to, you would hope for a breakthrough from him, especially on kickoff returns, because they've had chances, I think, with kickoff returns.
Right, and of course, Blake Gilligan with the Gunners doing a great job of giving them a longer field to work with. I think that's been obviously one of the keys, too. Because James talks about the field position battle all the time, and it's really important. Well, his punter and his Gunners have allowed him to do that.
Oh, the best combination, maybe the best combination in the country. Penn State has covered punts. I don't know if I've ever seen them cover punts like that, or ever. And, they've done a pretty good job with kickoffs, too. But Blake, you wouldn't worry about them. I think the offensive line has done better. Can they get some big moments? So we kidded Micah Parsons after the game, hey, your first college interception, what happened? And he laughed, and he said, at the end, he said, well, I'm saving it for when we really need it. So maybe that would mean the Saturday, I guess.
Well, it is really the only game out there this week. This is in the SEC, the week where everybody plays a non-conference game, and they're not exactly the marquee of the marquee. I've always felt that to the College Football Playoff Committee, my personal opinion, I always felt it was like a slap in the face. We'll do whatever we darn well please. And right in the middle of when you're ranking, we aren't going to play.
Right. That's a good point. I never kind of looked at it quite like that, but that's a good point, When's the last time two top 10 teams, how often, or maybe I should say this, how often do two top 10 teams play where one's favored by basically 20 points?
Right.
That doesn't happen. This is probably, is this Penn State's biggest point spread? Their biggest one they've overcome in recent history would be, I guess, the Wisconsin game, Bill O'Brien's last game.
Yeah, that was a big one.
When they were more than 20?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah. And
because I would think 3 years ago, maybe it was more like 16, 17, they were underdogged against Ohio State.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it might be.
For what it matters.
Right.
But
sure.
I think it's the same kind of game, though. I think a lot of people outside of maybe Penn State fans or such, I don't know how much are you looking at this game from the outside? What chance are you giving Penn State?
Right.
They got to prove, they got to do some things they haven't done the last. So I don't know. I'd be interested to see how much, if they try some things on offense in particular that they have not done, we have not seen yet. When's the last time that Ricky Ronnie has called a shovel pass after calling about, 4 or 5 in his first game in the Fiesta Bowl?
Yeah.
Things like
right.
that. Is there something they see that Ohio State's defense hasn't really had to defend yet? Just thoughts going through my head.
Yeah, sure. No, I understand completely. And that's, but again, I look at what the SEC does. You're right in the middle of the college football playoff.
Yeah.
And they just basically go, eh. And I'm sick.
Doesn't hurt them.
Oh, no, of course it doesn't hurt. I know it doesn't hurt them. It doesn't hurt them one iota. That's why they continue to do it.
It helps them, right? Because you get a break when your bodies are sore and when you need a little bit of a, take back, give the starters a little chance to recover.
Yeah, well, so we're sitting there, and you've got a group of individuals out there. Oh, boy, the SEC is really smart about this. Really. Right? Excuse me, that's not your job to say they're really smart about it. It's your job to say they're ranking the college football playoff right now, and everybody's going, guess what? We can get away with it. That's what they do.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much, if you had the choice, would you want to do that if you're the Big Ten, though?
Oh, I don't know. It would not be popular with the fans.
Right.
This is still, to me, it's still the fans' game.
There you go. You don't want to see it. We don't want to see it. So why would you want to do it? It's interesting how Penn State will be playing don't they open the season with Wisconsin?
Yes. Yeah, they do.
First game of the year, big conference game. I mean, do you want that? I guess, but you better be ready for it.
Well, I mean, this is where I'll say this about SEC scheduling. This is where I do think they're very clever with it. Even though it's an 8-game schedule, they stagger out the games in such a way where, okay, 1 week Florida's playing South Carolina. Hey, big game. Then the next week Tennessee is playing Auburn. Big game. They stagger it out where you feel like there's a big game every week, even though they only play 8 conference games.
Yeah. And people forget there is still the difference between conference games between those two leagues. I think people know it, but they maybe forget it. I mean, the Big Ten has to play an extra one of these games.
Exactly. They have to play 9. The SEC plays 8. ACC plays 8. Guess which 2 conferences have been in every single college football playoff?
Well, and the ACC has so they only play 8, and they got a week conference, and then you can schedule whoever else you want for that extra out of conference game. So Clemson if they really want it, they don't really have to be tested. They'd be tested the least of anyone.
Right, exactly. Now, to their credit, they are really, really good. Okay.
Well, yeah, there's that too.
So I'm not gonna put down how good their football team is, but whom they have the teams they have to play don't exactly make you sit back and go, yeah, okay, fine, they'll win that by 100.
Well, and there is a wear and tear factor, I think, on teams. So everybody was looking at Penn State's 3 or 4 games.
That's a good point.
Schedule in the middle. Can they get by Iowa and then Michigan? And then so you win the games, but how much do you pay for winning those games in that stretch? I mean, I don't know the answer. I'm just wondering if that's something that a team like Clemson doesn't have to go through.
Right, exactly. That's a good point. And it is something to wonder about. Frank, it's always a pleasure. Thanks so much. Enjoyed seeing you on Saturday. We walked into the box together. We had a good time.
Yeah, I look forward, and I will get a chance, hopefully, to see you this weekend. So
look forward to it. Good. Yeah. Getting you there is very important to us.
Yeah. Well,
thanks so much, Frank.
All right. Take care.
Frank Bodani, your Daily Record, back with more in a moment, including Dave Cecchini in the final half hour on News Radio 1070 WKOK, brought to you by Purdy Insurance. For nearly 100 years, Purdy Insurance has been your locally owned, family-operated source for insurance products. With a staff of over 20 and partnerships with some of the industry's most trusted companies, Purdy has the experience and resources to get the job done. Whether you need personal, home, and auto, or complex business insurance solutions, Purdy will help you navigate through the process. Call today at 570-286-5855. Or better yet, stop in their Sunbury office to see what Purdy Insurance can do for you. Great to be with you on the show today. Penn State won Saturday over Indiana. It was essentially a playoff game. And it does get to the point where it doesn't really matter. You do what you can to win whatever playoff game in front of you. I mentioned the SEC. I will mention one thing. LSU, for example, is not playing an out-of-conference game. They're playing Arkansas. And, of course, we know Arkansas has struggled tremendously. But most everybody else is playing somebody, quote, nondescript. And I've talked about this before. It's not, and it's not just in years gone by. I didn't think too much. I laughed about it in years gone by. I didn't think too much about the timing. But when they instituted the college football playoff, to me, that should have signaled to everybody. And it's up to the college football playoff to send the signal. They don't do it. But to me, if you schedule that game, I'll use one, and my apologies to anybody who's a graduate of the Citadel. Let's say you schedule the Citadel, which has been done before. If I'm the college football playoff, I automatically drop you out of the top 4. And then openly ask, I don't understand why we're 5th now. You chose to play the Citadel when we're ranking teams for the playoff. In other words, send a strong, powerful signal. Don't schedule that game. You can schedule the game, but schedule it in September. Find somebody else. Send a message to the SEC. Stop playing games. Now, it doesn't mean I can't move said team back into the top 4 next week. So let's take Alabama. Alabama, I think, without Tua Tagovailoa is going to struggle to get there now. But let's take Alabama. Say Alabama's in the spot. They're healthy, the whole deal, and they're third. I dropped them to fifth for playing the game and send a message to the entire SEC and to Clemson, which has done this as well in recent years. Okay, starting November 1st, we start ranking teams, right? Don't make a sham of it. Don't make a sham of it when we're ranking teams. And if I were in the room, I'd make that point powerfully that they may not listen to me, but I would try to make the message as powerful as possible to tell them in no uncertain terms, look, right, if we think strength of schedule is important, don't schedule a game like that out of conference when we're actually ranking teams. But they have not had the guts in that room to do it yet. When it comes to car buying, there's the other guy's way, and then there's the SMC way. The other guys force you into a vehicle you really don't want. The Sunbury Motors way lets you take the time you need to browse, ask questions, and take the test drive and think on it. For over 100 years, the Mertz family and all their employees have made your experience the most pleasant one you'll ever have. The other guys won't offer you the best price for your trade, no matter how much they say they will. The SMC way is their promise to provide you with the most money the market shows your vehicle is worth. The SMC way is to offer you all applicable factory rebates on new vehicles and generous discounts. Looking for a pre-owned vehicle? The SMC way checks each vehicle in a 200-mile radius to determine the lowest price, then beat it. It's the lowest price promise, just part of the SMC way. The choice is up to you. The other guy's way or the SMC way. The SMC way wins every time. Sunbury Motors Company in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury, and at sunburymotors.com. Selling more cars and satisfying more customers for over 100 years.
Taking your calls at 800-795-9565. This is The Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Now from the Sunbury Motors Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Today's show brought to you by Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. Purdy's have served this valley for decades. I don't care if it's auto, home, life, business, a bundle. They'll find you the right insurance so you're completely covered. They'll make sure you get absolutely the best price. And they'll take care of those policies as time goes because they're great people who are great professionals. Customer service means everything to them. That's Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. We're in the Sunbury Motors studio. Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf. Very pleased to bring in the head football coach of Bucknell, Dave Cecchini. Dave, welcome back to the show. Great to have you with us.
Thanks. Great to be here.
As time goes, you want to play your best football at the end of the season. Is your team doing that?
I think we're getting better, certainly mentally. I think with our mental toughness, this is as good as we've been. We're still not where we need to be yet. We're still not playing our best. I'm hopefully, very, very optimistic that we can put together our best game, our best effort here against Fordham on Saturday. But it was a great fourth quarter against Georgetown. It was great, really, for the first time to see our football team overcome a double-digit deficit in the second half. And really, after playing quite a lackluster first half, to be able to shrug it off and come away with a victory.
What turned it around, Dave?
Well, I think a couple of things. I think really starting back, you go to the big Lehigh win we had 2 weeks ago. I think that was really the first sign that our team was really coming around. It was a physical football game. We gained a lot of confidence from that. The mantra at halftime was we spoke a lot about the Lafayette game. Lafayette was a game that we played the week prior to Lehigh where we had a dominating first half performance. Went into the locker room with a solid lead, but not the type of lead that we thought we should have, and then came out and Lafayette got after us in the fourth quarter and won the football game that way. So we kind of referenced that, saying, hey, this can be us this is a game that's really not. It could have been a blowout at halftime, but it wasn't. We were still definitely in it, and we had the ability to come back, and our players really kind of took heart in that and went out. And like I said, as the third quarter progressed, our team seemed to build in confidence and really know that they had a chance. And then when the fourth quarter turned around, it was an amazing full-team effort. We got a huge block punt on special teams. We got 3 turnovers out of the defense. We had 2 big touchdown drives out of the offense, and then a great 4-minute drive at the end as well.
Van Natale ended up being the Patriot League Defensive Player of the Week. What did it mean to your team, the effort he put forward?
He was great, and there were a couple guys really that stood out. Garrett has been very opportunistic. He's a very physical player, plays much bigger than his actual size. And he was awesome with the 2 turnovers. Brandon Benson was a guy who wasn't 100% for the game. We didn't know how many plays we would be able to get out of him, and he just flew around and made plays all over the field in the secondary. So, it was a really heroic effort in that second half. We played pretty good defense in the first half as well, but there were some penalties. There were some third and longs that we gave up. There were some hiccups that were going on, and we knew we had to really ratchet up another notch if we were going to get back in the ball game, and we did just that.
Okay, so now this will be a different kind of question, but we always talk about how football teams grow. Has there been any area in taking over this program where you yourself as a head coach have felt like you've had some growth?
I think that without question, you have this when you take over a program and you start to get to know the players, there is a familiarity that develops rather quickly, but you don't know how, as a football team, you're going to handle adversity. You don't know, what buttons to push. You don't know, which course of action is really the best course of action when you have a couple of really decisions that had you known your team and how they handle adversity better, that you would have a better idea of, okay, hey, this is the direction we need to go. There's a lot of different ways to win a championship, to build a championship program, and different styles and things that particularly work best with certain types of players. And I think as the course of the years gone on, myself and the rest of my coaching staff has really kind of gotten to know just the overall personality of the football team, how we handle adversity, perseverance, just all of these different things. And I think as we've come towards the end of the season, that's really helped us kind of, push guys in the right direction, get after them when they need to be gotten after, give them an attaboy when they deserve an attaboy. And there's just different ways of approaching it. And as that familiarity turns into more of a comfortability, just because you know how these players are going to react on Saturdays, when they're in the fire. And I think that's helped us.
In the win over Georgetown, it was also senior day. These seniors will be the only year they will play for you. What have they meant to the program? But also, what did they end up meaning to you?
Yeah, I think I've grown really close with them. They're a great group of guys, a bunch of guys. Not a lot of them actually playing. So we've got some injuries. We've got some guys in some backup roles. But it's been a great class in terms of just, when you change the culture of a program and you change the philosophy of a program and you change the way you practice, you change the way you stretch, you change the way everything. You meet, you travel, and that's sometimes difficult on seniors that are used to doing things a certain way. And our seniors have done an incredible job of really buying into it. And all of your underclassmen, they're going to look to the seniors. If they're buying in, I'll buy in. I'm going to look at this guy because I've always looked up to him. He's always kind of known what to do. And if this guy is saying, hey, we're going to give this a shot, I am too. And that's really the most value that those guys have provided, just helping us really, say, hey, this is the direction we're going to go, and if the coach says this is the way it's going to be, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do it to the best of our ability. it's my sincere hope that, we need a little bit of help, but if we get a victory against Fordham and here in our final regular season game, and Holy Cross loses against Georgetown, we do have a shot at a share of the Patriot League title, and to be here in Week 11, when pretty much our football team was a unanimous choice, picked preseason to finish last, and the Patriot League to be sitting here battling Week 11 for a chance to go 4-2 in the league, and knowing that if something happens up at Holy Cross on Saturday, we may have a share of the championship. It's amazing. Nothing would make me more proud than to be able to award these seniors with the championship ring at our banquet at the end of the year.
Now you got Fordham coming up, and that'll be in the Bronx coming up on Saturday. For the most part, at least numerically, they have been a second-half team. When you look at them, what impresses you about Fordham?
Their athleticism. They are as athletic, as fast, as quick as any team in the Patriot League. They are certainly an enigma. Why they've only won one league game is really amazing. When you look at the talent they have, they've got a quarterback who can throw it. He was over 300 yards last week. He can run it. He's fast. He's a threat with his feet. They've got the best tailback in the league. They've got receivers that can catch the football on the defensive side of the ball. They got a lot of DBs that can cover a lot of ground. It's amazing to see how they have found ways to lose football games. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this. Just watching the film, they had Holy Cross at home last week and had them up 14-0 at halftime, and 21-21 with 7 minutes to go in the ball game. And I think it's 35 points, I believe, Holy Cross scores in the fourth quarter to run away with it. It just was an unbelievable series of events to watch this go from a competitive game, really anybody's football game with 7 minutes to go, to a blowout in really 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. It was amazing.
Right. They have Zach Davis, who's nearing 1,000 yards. They also have the Rutgers transfer Trey Sneed. And just a quick hint, Bucknell fans, he's left-handed. How do I know that? He's the one on the reverse last year when they tried to throw in the end zone, the trick play. He's the one that threw it. I remember certain things, Dave. And Tim DeMurat, a quarterback, who's got 19 touchdowns, got almost 2,500 yards passing, and DeQuise Carter's coming off a week where he was the rookie of the week in the Patriot League. It looks like they bring some balance to that offense.
They do. Like I said, they've got the best rushing attack in the league. And then you turn around and have a quarterback that throws for over 300 yards. Yeah. They scare you. They are, along with Holy Cross, easily one of the two top offenses in the conference. They've had some big wins. They've really done a good job. It's just, like I said, a little bit of a mystery that they've given up a number of big plays. When they turn the football over, it's usually not something minor. It's something that goes a pick six or something like that. So the mistakes that they've made really have cost them. Sometimes you get away from things with things. You could throw an interception, your defense comes up big. Or if you turn the football over, it's deep in enemy territory, so they still got to go 80 or 90 yards. But their turnovers have come in their own end, or they've gone, for 6 points. And so a lot of the mistakes that they've made really have been big ones as opposed to little ones. And so they've lost a lot of close games, overtime games, and like we mentioned against Holy Cross, in this crazy ending.
Well, I'll tell you, you're doing some terrific stuff, though, Dave. Congratulations on the big win on Saturday. Best of luck coming up this Saturday.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Steve.
All right, Dave Cecchini, head football coach at Bucknell. We'll wrap it up in a moment. Brought to you by Purdy Insurance on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Well, after stealing the show at the Tom McGrath tailgate, Gary Goloszewski curated. Another big show for Sean Carey where he essentially stole this one, too. You're not buying?
No, I'm just here doing my thing. getting things lined up for you. Archive the pod. We'll drop that here within an hour on Google Play, Apple Podcast app. There's another day. Another day here. We're good.
Another day where you're just stealing the show?
No.
Well, I know a guy who would claim he did. I stole it. That's our guy.
Our guy, that's right. Yeah, in the chair for Doug Bird's song at Christie on Saturday, calling a big come-from-behind win for the Orange and Blue there over Georgetown. So, yeah. Happy for Kevin on that.
And by the way, it's going to be on 100.9 The Valley this week.
Yep.
Because Bucknell basketball at Syracuse, which is part of the tournament. Penn State plays Bucknell tomorrow night. The game with Bucknell in basketball up at the Carrier Dome is Saturday. And that will be on Eagle 107, correct?
Yep, that'll be an 11:30 airtime Saturday morning with Nate Davis and Doug with the call at high noon. And then football over on the Valley with Kevin and Drew Newcomb, former Lewisburg High football star and Bucknell grad, who made his broadcast debut with Kevin over the weekend.
Yeah, I know. I received repeated texts.
And survived.
Right? It's like, how do I handle this guy? I said, well, geez, I mean, Drew, I work with Jack Ham. I mean, that received no sympathy. Then I told him, I said, don't worry about it. By the time it's over with during the broadcast, you might not say 100 words.
Brevity.
No, it's not brevity. It's just the only shot you get.
Well, speaking of shots, Steve, Penn State can go into the shoe on Saturday. Just give it their best shot and see how it goes. I mean, I'm not. 19-point deficit. I mean, in terms of, the point spread at this point. But, who cares? Just go in and just prepare the best you can. Go in, play the best you can. And, I mean, if we were talking 9-1 at this point, I mean, over the summer, if we were talking 9-1 going into this game, I mean, come on. Every Penn State fan would sign up for that every day, twice on Sunday.
Yeah, but it's not August.
That's right. We're now in the thick of it. That's right.
These fans want more now, brother.
That's true.
They want more.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I mean,
and so do you. I mean, now you become a big star in the tailgating scene. Don't let it go to your head.
No, I won't. Trust me.
They were pumping you for information.
They were.
I know. I knew it.
I mean, we're not talking about a History of the World Part II Inquisition kind of thing. Nothing like that. But yeah.
Well, the best one was Julia Rader, who bought a frozen turkey on Thursday with the hopes it would be okay on by Saturday, and it was. Although Brian had to go out and Brian had to get twine, he had to get tinfoil at 2 a.m. to take care of this.
Hardcore tailgating preparation right there. That gets an A+.
I mean, hardcore tailgating preparation. The poor guy was asleep.
Yeah.
He had to come downstairs and take care of it.
She's like, I'm just going to go up here and nod off, and then you just wake me up when you get back with the twine. So.
Now, it was supposed to be a Thanksgiving-themed dinner.
Friendsgiving, yes.
Yes, Friendsgiving.
Which was awesome.
Yes, very nice. But, in all of this, it also means that you have to have time to take care of the turkey. She lucked out. It wasn't frozen on Saturday. It wasn't frozen at 2 a.m. on Saturday.
So then you chalk it up, you're not going to do the same thing again in a week and a half from now. So,
oh no, she'll come up with something else. She's pretty good. So, yeah. But look, they won. It was a playoff game. I completely understand the feeling about quote style points. I got that because you wanted to go in, take a good team like Indiana, shut them down completely, boom, 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 go through the whole checklist. That way you're going into the Ohio State game. You feel like you got some serious momentum by how you play. I got that. I understand all that. But this is all about matchups. And I've talked about this 100 times in this show. It's all about matchups. How well does Penn State match up with Ohio State? And obviously, look, they've got athletes everywhere. Everywhere they've got athletes. You know, they're really talented. They're well coached. So you go in, and you don't listen to the outside noise. Don't listen to it. No, I mean, except for this show, of course. But don't listen to the outside noise. I mean, you know how I feel about outside noise. I've always been like that, right? It's just noise. It's one of that's why I always talk about the talking season. Well, the talking season extends itself to Monday through Friday, and even Sunday. Postmortems on games, leading into the next game. Yap, 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 yap. I'm on Ohio State's network tonight at 7:30. It'll be my turn to yap.
With the great Paul Keels. Wonderful. There you go.
Yeah. And Jim Lachey will be on. And
I mean, this is another Penn State-Ohio State game with ESPN College Game Day there. So I think it's, the seniors can, send this message down to the other younger players on the team. Hey, let's go into this like, this isn't our first rodeo. We're going in like this is another big game. We can go in and tackle this and we can get this done.
Look, you play. You play. When you get into a game like this, there's certain games you can go into and you can think, okay, let's go in there and let's take care of business, try and take care of business before the half. And, you can think that way in certain games. Then there's a game like this where literally it's play by play by play. Win the next play. Win the next play. Same thing with Ohio State. Ohio State, win the next play. When that's the mentality. For both teams, they have to have that mentality in a game like this where you have to win the next play. You can't think about, I hope we're there in the fourth quarter. Can't think about, I hope we're there in the third quarter. You can't think that way. This is the kind of game where play by play by play, you have to think about winning that play. Winning the series. You want to win the series you're on when it's all said and done. That, of course, means a touchdown. We talk about this in basketball. There's certain games where you play media timeout to media timeout. You don't look at the totality of the game. You look at, let's win the next media timeout. It's the same story with this. Today's show brought to you by Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. And we're in the Sunbury Motors studio. Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf.
You're listening to News Radio 1070 WKOK Sunbury. You can hear us anywhere in the world with the Sunbury Broadcasting Corporation app.